they move too slow. All right, let's do what we gotta do.
Yes. She tells me that he's working his struts together with the Jungle Navigation Center. Well, Skipper Felix, let me be the first to give our word on under the jungle cruise.
I don't know because they redid the
Morning.
That's Pirates of the Caribbean, honey. Discipline is making
like that way, right?
Oh, is that what we're doing? I love each other.
Listen, I'm not having any complaining anymore today. Let's get it out. Okay? Please. You guys are killing me. Oh, you know what? If you guys
All right, we're right on the boat, right? Okay.
Another question?
No.
This is our build station. So once you do the droid registration, you take your parts from whichever droid and then you'll sit here. You here to build it. Hold on
Thank you.
I think it's right over there. Grabe. Salamat.
So here's our afternoon list.
Thank you. It's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. You guys have fun. Love it. Thank you.
Una tomar agua.
I love how it's all like fast and then like turn over.
Chimichangas, corn cob.
Lo que puedo es arrumar ahí.
The tuna muffins, also the sardine crackers, anything that's in between.
good?
It's okay.
Okay, let's go.
That makes you smart right there.
Let's go try that. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Say hi to.
Andrew, do you want a picture?
Let's go. Go.